Hey, how's it going? We're just getting started here at the moment. Until then, I would like to just share for anybody who isn't part of the existing community on Discord, our Discord server link and our GitHub project. If you're not aware, this is just a fighting game development stream with the concept of developing a fighting game from scratch in the Zig programming language. It also is a series on learning the Zig programming language, since I myself have basically just started learning the language with this project. So with that said, let me go ahead and post those links in the chat for anybody who has not seen them before. Okay, let's just do that. Okay, just making some copy, some paste, make some coffee. Okay, yeah, there's that, and there also should be our GitHub link. That's where I post all the updates to the source code, and that's going in there now. Alrighty, cool. With that bookkeeping taken care of, how's everybody doing this fine evening? For those Americans out there, and good morning on the other side of the planet. I know it's very late for some of you, or all of you people out in Europe. Early in the morning for us here in Asia, but got a good bit energy today. Got my coffee in. No breakfast yet, but be doing that after the stream. Okay. I think, how's everyone doing? So before we really get started, I'm going to do a review of what changes occurred. And just one thing to note, we were working on loading serialized or previously serialized game data from JSON formatted asset files, basically just text files. And that was taking a while, and there's a few bugs I needed to work through. So I actually ended up doing some of that work offline. It would have taken several hours on the stream, so I chose just not to do it there. And that's what I'll be reviewing here. I've just kind of put together a diff. But basically, I guess let's get started here. On the 23rd, we did some of this work where we copy translated hitbox into the Scratch hitbox memory for the collision system. We reset the number of items in the collision system Scratch every frame. That was on the 23rd. That's when I streamed last, right? Yeah, that was a Thursday. And we haven't really implemented this entirely yet at that point. Use loaded character data when executing actions in the state machine. So basically using hitboxes and stuff per action that's currently active. And then, obviously pipeline hitboxes from the character data to the collision system, which is just moving or being able to read that data in the collision system for detecting collisions. Okay, and then pretty much offline, this is what I did. Just initialize the collision system in the game simulation because we were not actually running it at that point. And I created a test character asset, and I loaded it when starting the game. And I can show you what I did here. So basically, starting on the 23rd, I just committed these changes, right? So basically, so we had support for getting the action data using action name. This was using the action name map, which basically give you the index for to be able to look up a particular action from the character data because it's stored in a list in a particular order. And what's after that? I did some work on the collision system. And I think a lot of the stuff I did on stream actually. But I'll just show you all the changes just so we can review them real quick. Just going from file to file. So the first thing is, I just made this test asset, which we'll be using for the foreseeable future. I might make two characters here, but for now, this is the naming scheme. It's going to go under the assets folder with a name test Kara 1. And there'll be a test Kara 2, etc., etc. Okay, maybe 0 is a better starting index, but we'll do 1 for here. Basically, I just added simple hitboxes, added just a single vulnerable hitbox group, started on frame 0, and it was a duration of 1, and just specified the hitbox dimensions, which are right now, there's no dimensions, it's all 0. So we'll be changing that when we're testing today. So we'll be modifying this structure effectively. Okay, no attack box at the moment, and there's 2 actions in here. I just put that as a kind of a placeholder. And this action is named standing. And actually, I had this to test because this has no name here. I didn't want the game crashing just because there was a missing name. That's something we'll get to here in a second. Though they should have a name. It should be a warning at least. Okay, going on. One thing I did was this structure that's called combat state callbacks. This is, in fact, the functions that get called per action when they're executing, like entering that action state, on updating the state, and on ending. I'm going to rename this as something like action description or whatever. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be just callbacks because, as you can see, I added a name, and this name is going to reference the action stored in our character data. That way we know which like collision boxes and other properties to pull in when an action's executing. And this is going to be our starting point for this kind of stuff. So we can actually make attacks and moves and things like that. Okay. Next on the list here, basically, yeah. So this is not actually hitbox. I need to expand this. This way GitHub works. Yeah. So this is, in turn, right, we added a name to each action in the action properties, which is going to use for lookup later. That gets serialized, of course, into the JSON description. Okay, and then we implemented these find action and generate action name map. Originally, these were declarations inside the action property itself, but in the character data itself. But I realized very quickly that I needed to actually handle this action name map outside the character property struct because we don't have any way to serialize that data or skip over it. I could have coded an exception just for hash maps, but it was kind of annoying, and I decided for now not to do that, so I just moved it outside of the function. So yeah, that just generates our action name map given a character property and an allocator, and it just goes through the list of actions and inserts a name with an index into that map, and of course returns it. And then, of course, on the character properties, this is just, what did I do here? Oh, yeah, because I removed something, and I just removed the comma there, I guess. Okay, after that, one of the big things I did offline, effectively, was to implement this load asset function. Now, you can see it returns a character, an optional of character properties. It's not, as it sounds, a generic function for loading any asset. I wanted to start with a concrete use case and then move on. Sorry, here, my cable has slid from my microphone. Yeah, I wanted to add a concrete use case. For now, obviously, that's just character properties, and it's going to load the entire asset given a path. One thing to note here is we do have a fixed size buffer for preloading all the characters from the text file, that is the JSON character asset. I want to, in the future, make this streaming because we're quickly going to run out of space here. And I'm just going to note that in our agenda here, right? I don't know if I'm going to do it this month, but I'll just go ahead and put it here. So I want to make the asset loading code use streaming reads instead of loading into a fig. Okay, so that's something we need to take care of. Okay, continuing with the review. Let's go here. So we have this isArrayList function. This is not actually what changed. As you can see, the line numbers are much different here. It's actually the parse value function. This is used to parse particular fields in structs inside of the JSON asset, given a struct that's properly implemented in the way that this code was supported, right? The thing I did change, and this is kind of going back to that JSON file, is you can see here that what we were doing basically was just assuming effectively that any particular field exists as long as it's inside the struct. And we just got the actual value there, and we went ahead and parsed it. But I wanted to remove that and I'll just get the optional directly. You can see we don't have the question mark here, and just check to see if that's available, because we don't necessarily know that. Maybe not all fields are going to be required in the data. Maybe if there's defaults, we won't include it in the output JSON. We'll see what think about that. Or it just makes it a little easier when you're hand coding the properties. In the future, it's all going to be done in an editor, but there are times we do want to, in the worst case, go in and change values by hand. So effectively just there, I just unpack the optional and then just made sure everything's okay there. And yeah, parse the value and of course assigned that field in the struct to the value that was returned. Okay, going on here, I just updated the test here. I added a new test to see if we can actually look up an action. We did some of this on stream, but I did make a change to support the struct declaration version of this generate action name map and find action. Okay, cool. Is everything audio levels good, by the way? Awesome. Okay, it looks fine. I'm seeing everything here. I'd be really worried if I just talked for a good 10 minutes without any feedback. Is anybody actually here? That's would be important. Okay, we got a few people. I know it's a Monday, so okay. Sorry. Okay, just moving on here. What we did, so we updated collision system as well. First thing we do is we get the translated hitbox, and what we're doing here. Oh yeah, so we updated this function for get translated active hitboxes. Basically, we give the hitbox groups, we give an offset, which is going to be the character position, so that we can actually translate the box position, and we have a slice of hitboxes that we assign the translated hitbox to. And you can see that here. We just translate the hitbox, we assign it to the boxes. This is just an out parameter, right? So we're modifying what's in here. And if we go down here a little bit, you can see that I updated the scratch hitbox at struct to just be, for now it's still the same as 10 boxes, but I just changed the initial value of this to be basically a default hitbox. And we have a hitbox count, which is how many hitboxes are currently stored. Actually, are we using that now? I might have actually got rid of that. I think we actually got rid of that struct. So yeah, we probably not even need to use that anymore. Yeah, because I replaced this script. Okay, this would happen, right? So I replaced this structure with a slice. Well, sorry, not a slice. Actually, a fixed size array of 100 hitboxes. That's going to be used as a cache. It's going to be used as the scratch data, right, in the collision system. So that's going to be pre-initialized at the beginning of the game simulation. And of course, those are assigned to default value hitboxes here, as you can see here, with no perimeters assigned or no fields overridden here. Okay. And I also created these vulnerable and attack slices, which are going to kind of be our scratch data. Again, I've hard-coded 10 entities. So it's 10 entities with a slice of that previous hitbox scratch we looked at right here. So this is just going to reference, for each entity, it's going to reference some slice of that flat list of hitboxes. We're going to add some constraints on that in the future, but for now, this is where we're starting. This is something we'll actually have to consider because, there might be more than 100 active hitboxes on screen. Unlikely, given it's a fighting game, but if I decide to go ahead and make something that plays more like a IAMP that has a lot of projectiles and stuff, we might have to expand this. Okay. But yeah, the idea is you take a slice of that and you assign it for each entity, and these lists specify which slice of that total array that each entity is using. So that's basically what this is going on here. And we implemented or updated the init function. Well, I think, yeah, because we deleted the old init function, implemented the new one. we don't need to do this anymore as we have fixed sized hitboxes. We might need to initialize different, well, for now let's not worry about that. I'll get into it later. Anyway, moving on. I moved part of the collision system code out of the execute function and moved it to this collision phase to make it more testable and just kind of be clear about which phase we're currently executing. But yeah, so I went through there, and effectively what we're doing now, you saw before we're looping over all of these entity boxes, and then we're going through every single hitbox within that set of entity boxes, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was getting kind of deep. So what I actually ended up changing it to is, so first thing we do is we have to get all the set of slices for every single active entity. So we go, obviously we take a slice from the first index all the way up to the number of entities that are active, just for the attack and the vulnerable hitboxes. And then we're going to loop over all the sets of slices. Well, not sets, yeah, all the slices. And each slice will list which hitboxes are currently active. And we'll go through all the attack boxes. We will then go all through the vulnerable boxes. If we have the same index for the defender and the attacker, then we don't process the hit. Otherwise, we, then we'll loop over all the vulnerable boxes for the particular entity. Sorry, up here we're actually looping over all the entities, and here we're looping over all the hitboxes for that entity. And then we check the overlap and we print a string. That's all we're doing for now. Okay, so that's pretty much that. And then the execute, we added a bunch of code here. One thing to note is the collision phase at the very bottom here, right? So this is a huge change from the last stuff, but just going through here. So the beginning of the collision system execute phase here is first, we don't have any vulnerable boxes or attack box scratch count. It starts at 0, right? And then we start incrementing this each time we process a new hitbox. So what we're going to do is go through all the entities here, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with like a dummy hitbox. So these slices are just pointing to this dummy because effectively we're not using it. I could do something else with this, but moving on effectively. So, oops, this is actually a bug here. I'm going to fix that. That should not be 2 attack slices. It should be vulnerable slices. Okay, does that actually compile? Whoops. So that's a bug we need to fix. Okay, and then we get the position of the entity. So here we're just like basically initializing this set of this scratch hitbox, right? A scratch slice to effectively, how to put it, to the beginning of this hitbox data. Okay, anyway, moving on. I actually don't like this. I'm going to change this. But moving on to that, we get the offset, we get the component for the state machine, state as before. We were already doing this kind of stuff. We're going to try to get the combat state name from the combat states here, and then we're going to make sure we have the game data. We probably can move this up somewhere else. This is probably not necessary, but we're just unpacking the optional here. We probably could do this differently. And we make sure that we actually have the character. This is the character data, so we make sure at least that we have the character data. That is not the index is not higher than the number of character data items. Okay, so inside of this, we find the action. Just pass in the character data here. We pass in the index of the action and the action name. Well, actually, sorry. We haven't seen this yet, but this action name maps is stored along with the character data. This is what I was talking about earlier when I'm saying we had moved that action map outside of the character data. It's going to be in a separate array list, or an array now, not array list. It might be an array list. No, it is an array list because we have items. Sorry. And we pass in the action name. This finds the action. If we do have the action data, we will process that, and we'll get the translated. I don't like this. I'm gonna fix this formatting. But yeah, yeah. So here we insert the translated hitboxes for the actions in the action hitbox scratch. So as you can see here, we're basically starting at this attack scratch count. This gives us the start index within that larger buffer I had mentioned before for the collision system. It's just one flat array, and we want for each entity to start at certain index in that array. So the scratch count is incremented, as you can see here, for each hitbox. So once we've gone through all the hitboxes for one character, that scratch count now is pointing it to the next item in that array. And here we're just creating a slice from that to the very end, so to potentially support writing out to the end of that array. Hey, what's up, Comic Man? And we'll do the same for the vulnerable hitboxes here. And I want to make this more generic in the future, so if we support other hitboxes. And yeah, that should be all good here. And then we just wrote a test to initialize the collision system to support that. Tested translating hitboxes, more tests, etc., etc. I need to test running this or clearing out hitboxes, but I'll do that later. Okay, moving on to another file here. So the game.zig file. So I changed this a little bit because we'll get to this, but I moved the game state out of the game simulation file and out of the game simulation struct into its own separate file, just for organization reasons, and also something I thought was going on wasn't going on, but we have basically systems that need to read the game data, and also the game simulation needs to read the game data, but the game simulation also needs to look at systems as well, right, and components. So I just wanted to separate all those things. Okay, so yeah, we just moved that up so we were actually having this game state here. What do we do with that game state? Oh yeah. Yeah, so we're just doing it through calling the game state init function on the struct directly here instead of the game simulation.game state. Okay, and then got rid of this test code that I had before, or commented it out. We'll get back to this. Okay, in the game simulation, we need to import the collision system and the game state, of course, because you can see here I removed the game state code from the game simulation, and this did some initialization here, right? Here, in these tests and such. And of course, the game state is moved out into its own file. I'm not going to go over all of this. I don't know if there's anything to note. I did add names to these standing and walking forward callbacks for the action. Again, I want to rename these things not as combat state callbacks, but something like combat state action. Probably that's what I'm going to do. Okay. But yes, standing, walking forward, so that we can actually look up the names. And, you know, currently we just have in this test character asset standing. I'll add walking forward in a bit. Okay, how are we doing good on time? 24 minutes. Okay, so I think we've covered most of this. Still going down at the end of here. One thing to note is I just added, because our game loop now returns an error, I needed to call try here. And this is so I could propagate errors up the chain of things. So, okay, that's where we're at, basically. That was a review. I know it's pretty quick, but if there's any questions about that, go ahead and ask. Awesome. Okay, so just looking at our agenda for today, I wanted to prototype having two characters on screen, each with at least one hitbox fire off the debug message when the two collide, and only when they initially overlap. Okay, so I think that's pretty straightforward. We just need to have two characters loaded. One can walk, I'm just going to have one walk forward, and when it overlaps the other, it's going to fire off a debug message. I might do a trigger and attack with a button press if we have time. We'll see. Okay, and just to get things started, I'm going to just run the game, see if everything looks good and error free. That would be nice. Okay. Okay, it does run. And I know before we implemented walking, currently it is not supported, I guess. We'll get on that in a second. So yeah, what should we do first? Should we load a second character? Okay. Is there any barriers to doing that we didn't think about? Let's just look through our game simulation real quick, right? So our game simulation just updates. Sorry, so we have one position here. So so we have to actually update a second character, right? So one's at 4,000. Let's say one's at 400,000. One's at 800,000. That's for the second character. But we still need to initialize the character, right? So if we go to the game, I can't just do that real quick. Okay. This is in game state. So let's go to our game state real quick. Currently, initialize our game state. We just have one character. Oops, you're right. It should not be Darkstalkers 3. That's my bad. Thanks for pointing that. Yeah. So that's fixed. Sorry, my bad. I was playing Darkstalkers earlier, so always miss something. It's fixed now, I think. Okay. Moving on. But thank you. Oh my gosh. Darn it for pointing that out. Cool. So we have our character properties loaded here. And hold on, give me a second. So we need to, so we have loaded data. Just for posterity's sake, we're going to load it twice. I'm going to see data 1, data 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to append, where did the loaded data come? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to do this twice. We're going to do this much nicer later, but I just want to have two characters, right? So we're just going to copy pasta. We're going to do data 1, data 2, loaded data, and we're just going to append that character here, and we're going to make a action map from that data. Yeah, I don't necessarily have to do this, but again, we might potentially be loading two types of characters in the future, so I'm going to go ahead and just make sure it works in that way, right? And we don't need this hitbox thing here. That was a test code. Okay, so that should work. We should have two characters loaded, or character data loaded for those characters. We still don't have entities initialized for two characters yet. So we did that in the game simulation, right? What is our init? Or did we do that in game state as well? I'm trying to. So yeah, we're gonna have the initialize state machine component for both characters. I think. So yeah, we have to initialize these state machine components, right? Where did we do that at? So each component we need to have copy for both entities. We're gonna streamline this in a bit. But for now, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to hard code it for now. Not the best way to do things, but. So yeah, you can see our components right here are initialized to their default values. And I think just effectively we need to have our entity component, our entity count. So I think effectively we can just do entity count 2 for now, and we should be good. Because I think all our components, as you can see here, are just initialized. They're pre-initialized. Input-wise, we'll have to get on that. You can see here we actually had 2 input components set up, not 10. But for now we only support 2 characters. So in the future, yeah, we might have AI that uses the input component as well. So we'll get to that. We'll just leave this as is. So yeah, here this should work because we have our game state initialized. And let's see. So right now we're only updating the input for one character. That's fine. And we are only getting position of one character here. We could split this out to a function and draw the circle if we wanted to. Should we just go ahead and make that generic for showing the second character? Okay, let's just make it a function. So let's just go up here and just call it draw a character, right? So what do we need? We need a function, draw a character. In case it returns error. I don't know why it would return an error. Let's assume it doesn't for now. So we just need, whoops. So we just need the position, right? We don't care about So we need a position, and we need to be, what is it? Math dot inspect2d. Okay, we have a position, and we want a color, right? So what is the color? Because we don't have different colors for each character. So what is this type? Maroon. Let's we go to definite. Let's find maroon. Or can we look at the function itself? Does it show us the type here if I hover over it? No, it doesn't go in here. Because I think it's implemented in C, that's why. What is the color type for? Struct color is what it is. Well, okay, let's just say it's color. I think that's probably right. That'll work. Or is it rl.color? Maybe, yeah, rl.color is the type here. And we pass in the color. And I don't know what this is, the 50 on here. What's the implementation of that? Oh, it's just the radius of the circle. And then we keep those the same. Okay, that works for me. Okay, and so let's just should be able to replace this easily. Let's comment it out for now. And draw both of our characters. So we need to be we just need the position, right? And then we need a color. So rl.maroon for the first one. And we need, oops. We need a, what else color we can do? Let's just say blue. Blue for now. Okay. And is there fuchsia? No, I don't know. Is there teal? What is the color I'm thinking of? Aqua? Is there aqua? No, there's not. It's blue. Light blue. Light gray. So light. Let's just do blue. Okay, doesn't matter that much. And we need the index 1 component for that character. Are we going to get a crash or even build error at this moment? We'll see. Use undeclared game state. Where did that come from? In game.zig. Number 9. What was the problem here? Oh, I did not pass in the game state. That's oh, I'm an idiot. I should have updated this. I forgot about that. Not an idiot, just overlooked a thing, which is fine. It's completely reasonable. This gets the screen coordinates from the, the game. So we did break here. It means we're probably accessing some kind of invalid data here. Yeah, what do we do? What's our call stack say? So we're going to gather vulnerable boxes. The problem here is, what is our entity? What is the value for entity here? Let's add a watch. It's value 1, which was expected, so it crashes because of that. Is it because we're accessing this, or the vulnerable hitbox scratch? That's just probably not the case here, but let's just go ahead and look at it. Vulnerable scratch count. Oops. Sorry. Vulnerable scratch count. It's 1, so that should be fine. What is the volt count? That's 0. Okay. And let's just actually look at this value, see what's going on here. Do we uninitialize memory? I think we do. I think that's the problem. Has number of vulnerable scratch. Okay. Let's just go ahead and delete that. So the problem is, well, the attack scratch worked fine, right? So why did this crash and not this? Is it because we didn't initialize things correctly? Let's just go look at this real quick. So we have 10 of each of these. They're undefined, of course. 8, okay. Okay. So we did assign this to a dummy here. Is that the problem? It's interesting. So just to double check what's going on here. Let's see if that fixes our crash if we rerun the program. Okay, yeah, you can see the dots over there. So we do need to fix this. So what I was assuming what this should be doing is it should be like pointing the slice that's at this entity index to a section of this of the scratch, right? Of some range in the scratch. So why would that crash? Is it because I did this here? Because it's undefined here? Do we even need this to be frank? Well, we do need it in case there is no slices. That's the only thing. Wait. Give me a second. So the way I did this, I wasn't too happy about this. Because this is just points to a single entity in here. Not a single entity, single item. You know what? What I'm going to do is just point to self dot text scratch 0 to 0. It should be just 0 to 0. So it means it's empty, right? 0 to 0 just means it's empty. And we should be able to reassign that here in a bit. I think we can reassign it. Maybe we need to redo this whole idea of having a scratch as a persistent data between frames. That's one thing I'm thinking about that's not worth doing. Okay. We uncommented that, right? So do we still have the same issue? It might be a problem with my understanding of Zig, actually, so. Did not work. I use local variable dummy. Oh. Who's the dummy now? So it did crash in the same place, right? Okay. So let's rethink this, I guess. Instead of having this as persistent data, which really don't need to have that as persistent data up here, only for testing purposes, right? Let's not make that persistent. Let's make that the reason I was thinking of making persistent because I wanted to have these pre-allocated. It shouldn't be that much memory because it should just be 10 times the number of a pointer and a size, because a slice is just a pointer in a length, right? Anyway, for now, we'll do this, and then we'll have to go fix all these self instances. We don't need this. I'm not going to initialize it here. Let's go through all these real quick. It won't be self. Oh, that's a problem. We don't pass it in, though. That's another reason it might be an issue. Okay, let's... Okay, wait, let's undo that real quick. Sorry. What should we do? Let's undo that for a second. I'm still thinking about how I want to handle this. Well, we start off with undefined up here. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure if I'm doing the right thing here for this. If we don't do it at the beginning, is it okay? What happens? We still get the crash. Okay. So we look here. So attack slices are pointing to So the first attack slice here is pointing to hitbox that's, of course, you know, size 0 effectively. So there's 2 hitboxes it's looking at. Really? Or I'm okay. No, okay, that's the first. This is the first entity. The second entity is pointing to a hitbox as well, but it looks like it's pointing to the same hitbox. Is that right? Why would it point to the same hitbox? Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. But then for almost like this, so the first one we were able to assign, but not the second one. That should come from our character data, right? Hold on. Let me look at that real quick. Also, we have, where do we assign that hitbox? Because I don't know if you noticed, but oh, it's translated by the character position. That's why it makes more sense. Gotcha. Okay. Because it is the translated version of the hitboxes. Gotcha. Okay. And then for the character, second character, we crashed here, so we're not able to assign it. What was wrong with the second character that became the problem? So why is this such an issue? What am I missing? And this worked too, like self attack, hitbox, scratch. Okay, this is the same. Attack, scratch count, vulnerable scratch count, attack count, full count. And what am I missing? So vol count is 0. Wait. Oh, it's because the vulnerable count is 0. Is that the issue? So our vulnerable hitbox scratch was not updated with anything. So is this a problem doing hitbox scratch to vol count? Is that an issue? Well, let's just check this real quick. So we should loop a few times. Here we are again, fixing a problem. Give me a second. I need to take care of some business. Yeah, how do I get rid of the spam bot? Where do we do? Yeah. Is it creator dashboard? Isn't that you go to? Oh, here we go. I should go to characters. Is it Lydian Ocean to make sure I don't ban it someone else? Oh, they're gone, I guess. Okay. This came in and gone. Oh, well. Cool. Okay, so we got here, we see that our entity, our value of entity, hold on real quick, is 0. False count is fine here, right? Continue. So we're looping through. What are we looping through? So now we're at entity 1. And notice vol count is 0. What happens then? Everything's fine now. Why is it? Give me a second here. I'm really confused. So we're looping while Entity is listed in entity count. Oh, am I stupid? It's interesting. I keep, and then it crashes. I just realized something though. Let's go back to where we were. I was calling get active hitboxes, right? This function. It's called, yeah, that's right. It's active hitboxes. Why is it getting, why is the loop happening so often? Is it because it's happening over multiple frames? What's happening? I think the problem is the action changed, right? Let's check that again. Okay. Let's run it again. Let's check what the action is. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's debug the action name actually. Oh. So yeah, everything's fine. We're looping. We're looping. So action name right now is nothing. That's a problem. Oh, we didn't initialize the action of the other one. That's important. We forgot to do that. I forgot to do that actually. Okay, that's probably what happened. So we need to initialize the action. Where's the state machine components? What we sign here? Yeah. Okay. I completely forgot to do this. Oops. We need to do this for the second character. So we need to register all these for the character, and we need to set the context. This is probably why it's crashing. So we set up the physics component. Why did I do it like this? All the context. Okay. Let me just change the code there. We'll make this a generic function for initializing a new character at some point. Okay. That's probably what's happening. Are we still crashed, huh? Action name is set now. So vulnerable counts 1. What's going on? Entity 0 this time and it crashed. What? The character is undefined. Well, I'm not using this. Someone here. So vulnerable scratch count is 0. Okay. Full count is 1. Entity is 0. The only thing I imagine is this is invalid somehow. What are we missing? Action name is set. What about our action data? Is that fine? Let's look at our action data to make sure that's everything is working as intended. Let's make a new expression there. So our action data has vulnerable hitbox groups. It has 8. What? Oh, capacity is 8. It has 1 hitbox. Okay. I think it looks fine there. This is what we expect. It should be just 1 hitbox. Yeah, items, length is 1. Okay. So that's fine. What is our issue then? If I look at self, vulnerable hitbox scratch, it's initialized, right? Vulnerable slash is Is this a problem? What am I doing here? This is a problem. I guess what I'm trying to figure out. Hmm. Hmm. Wait. Hold on. Did I just forget? I think crashed. That was just. Oh, it's working. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I just did a debug point. That's why I forgot a breakpoint for the debug. So now it's working. Cool. Let's just update the positions of these guys real quick. These dots. Collision of these dots. They started here. I want to start him at. Start them at here. Maybe that's gonna be better. More centered on the screen. Okay. Let's move this one over a little bit. So we have them there. I need to be able to move one around to test the collision event. Okay, so we got the red, the maroon, and the blue dot. Okay, that works. So now our input components don't seem to be doing anything. Why is it not working? Is it because the gamepad's not working? The gamepad's not hooked up? Let's just, let's see. Let's just set some breakpoints real quick. And see why it's not working. Because I do have the gamepad right here. It should be working. Okay, so that's working for sure. That's definitely working. Okay. So we're good there. And the character should be in standing state. Okay, if we go look at our standard actions, right? Common states, we have standing, on start, on update. Is this being called? It is being called. Okay. And what about here? Do we ever hit this breakpoint if we're running? So yeah, I'm pressing a button, nothing happening there. So the problem is this. Is the context not being set up? We need to update the input commands, right? And that should have been updated on the, yeah. So this is being called, right? Okay. So what's the issue? Wait, so this is within state machine component 0, context here. What am I missing? Let's move this. It's kind of annoying. So we do set input component 0. That's fine. Going back to the game simulation. When we update the input command system, pass in the game state, take the game state, get the first state machine component, copy the value that's in the input command into this context. What did we actually? Is that how we're doing things? We're pulling it from the context, right? So we do get the context. Is the right context being passed on to onUpdate, or is the onUpdate being called at all? Well, it is being called, right? Yeah, we know that. Let's just look at that call stack real quick. So context comes from the state machine processor. Okay. So the state machine processor context. Is that what we're updating? Hold on. Sorry, that should be... Wait. Oh, it's the wrong context. It should be... Do we have context on the component as well? We have a context on the component, we have a context on... Huh. Where's our state machine component? What the heck? Yeah. So we have a context here on the state machine component. And then the state machine itself, does that, so the state machine has a context as well. Ah, okay. What we're intending to do here, we have two separate, well, it's not that we have two different contexts, it's that we're supposed to assign this somewhere. How do we end up breaking this? What was the problem? So we need it to point to that context. Where were we doing that? Hold on. Yeah, we did make this an optional. I don't know how, and unfortunately I called it context, so I don't know if we have a good way to like find this. Okay. So yeah, we store this in the state machine component, right? And that's in the game data currently. Yes, because it's part of the game state, right? So game data, game state. So that's there. Unfortunately, so we do assign it at the beginning here. We do point it to. So what is the issue? What's the problem? What are we missing here? I shouldn't have done anything like this, to be honest. I don't know even know why I did this. I hate it. Because now it's putting me in a situation where I'm like, what's actually happening here? You know. So we just set the state machine context of this. What if we just break it real quick? Let's just break it and see what happens. It's going to crash somewhere, but I'm going to fix it up at a certain point. Okay. So on update, we're trying to get context. It crashes, of course. Let's look at our call stack. So we are trying to get the context from, because we're passing in the state machine processor. So what if instead we pass in the context instead of this? Okay. So let's just go ahead and delete this. Oops. We're gonna pass in a valid context. Always have valid context. Context that's gonna be equal to this, and we're assuming it's a valid context, so we shouldn't have to do this. Yeah. And we'll store the context in the state machine component. Okay. Oops. Yeah. I don't think I was happy about that originally when I did it in the first place. So, okay, why don't we do this here too? Oh, it's because of test. Okay, now the test won't pass, but it's fine for now. Okay, so we need a passing component dot context. Okay, that's straightforward enough. We'll see how things go though. I think I only left it in there like that to preserve. Yeah. Okay, let's, unfortunately we need to, where is the error at? We're expecting, is that right? It says no member name context. I don't see context here. Oops. Where is it? Us game state is what I'm looking at. Okay. Oh yeah. Nah. Bye bye. We don't need it anymore. Yeah. Bye bye. Okay. Mm-hmm. 61. Where is it? We're at state machine. It's probably because of test that we need to update. Or it isn't. Oh. What? What is on update? Oh. State on updates available. We call it pass on. Oh. So he's passing the pointer. Oh. Actually, this should be a pointer, right? Oops. So we just need to update that. Because we need to potentially update the context. I didn't realize it was read only. Well, I thought it was going to be read only, but. Okay. We crashed. Okay. Or was that breakpoint? No, we didn't crash. That was breakpoint. Okay. So you can see when I'm pressing it, it's updating. But I forgot we're not actually moving the thing right now. So what we need a walking state, right? A walking state is under the common states. So we are walking, and we are applying velocity, right? We are applying velocity. Yeah, just regular old troubleshooting. Okay, so we're applying velocity to our physics component. And we should have a physics system updating the position. We've done that before. So what is the issue? Physics system. Yeah, let's go here. So that should be updated, right? So we are hitting this. Hold on. So we get the component. Why do you make it? Yeah, we get the component and we set the position based on the component velocity. And then we update the velocity based on the acceleration. This was working before. What do we break now? Well, what should we do? Too many velocities. Eesh. Okay. Search for dot velocity. So, is this add function actually working? Let's spam the debug output real quick, just for posterity's sake. Okay. Yeah. What's not X? Just we just need to do component dot velocity. Right? Oops. Let's rerun that. Just a spam to see if we see anything change real quick. Printf debugging. Yeah, it's not changing. So something's wrong with our pipeline. Is it because of the way we changed how context was used? Are we making a copy somewhere we're not aware of? There shouldn't be no hidden copies. It's Zig. Because anything that's passed in as a parameter is going to be constant. We can't make it value. We can't make a change to it anyway. Let's do this. This is what I like to do. Going back to our common states. Now, we're going to set the velocity here. It's going to hit this breakpoint once we press right on the pad. Okay, hits that breakpoint, and I'll hold this and go to. Oh, this is the issue right here. Because I did like the pointer thing where I'm like, well, the context is a pointer to the physics component. This is also a hack. I don't like this as well. We will change this in the future. I just yeah. I can't tell you exactly why I don't like it, other than the fact that we're having pointers to things that are sitting in other structs that don't have ownership. I don't like that. But other than that, that's my main reason. So that was overriding. The second entity was overriding the value, but still not moving. Okay, still not moving. What are we missing? So they didn't fix it? That's kind of shocking. Okay. Yeah, when you add a second entity into a game, there's always going to be problems, right? Let's go and add. Wait a minute. Let's try something. Let's just set this to 1 real quick. See what happens. Still can't move. Okay. Just make sure something wasn't getting overwritten by having more entities. So something is amiss. That is for sure. Let's go jump through our game simulation here. Okay. I'm gonna update this while loop as well to increment outside here. Okay, so we can hit a breakpoint, and then we should be able to go back to our. I wonder if I could hide this somewhere else. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Go to our game simulation, and we should be able to hit this next, and we should. Okay. And what's going on here? Let's look at our game state directly. So we have game state, physics components. Velocity, in fact, is 0 here. That's interesting. Why? Huh. So this is not, it's not like this is failing somehow, which I wouldn't expect it to fail. It means something else is. Is it because this is an optional? Okay. Let's look at our call stack real quick. So we're updating through this whole update state machine thing. We're updating the action system. Let's just step over everything real quick. Let's just call an end. Interesting. I'm gonna show you something. Let me see something real quick. Something's going on. Weird. Something weird is going on. Yo, what's up, Christoph? Thanks for dropping by. We're just trying to get our entity moving around so that we can test a collision. Something broke, and we're investigating. Let's see. Going back to that. Let's just run the game again. Oh, we are running the game. Okay. We need to go to their common state again. And what I want to do is not set a breakpoint there. What I want to do is hold the button. So oh, if I click out of it, it goes away because we've lost focus. You can see the being updated here. That's kind of annoying for testing. What am I supposed to? It's gonna be. Well, what is the type of context physics component? It should be an optional. I can go to. Yeah, it's an optional pointer. Optional pointer. But what I want to do, this is what I want to do. I want to hit a breakpoint in the common state. Once we update this for the first time, I want to step over everything just to see where we're at on values. So the context here should be, let me add this. Oops. So velocity is definitely updated in this physics component. Okay. So so here the game data, we can look at game data, right? Because we're in the action system, which is called in the game simulation here. We should have, wait. Hold on. Game state. Okay, not game data. Game state is what we look at. Game data is our persistent data. Game state is the memory that can change. So looking at physics components, velocity is now 0. So we're not changing the right physics component. We're changing something. That's not. Because by the time we get out of here, it's now 0. Even though we were able to confirm while it's called. Is it? We're passing the wrong. We are passing in the context. Hold on a moment. Let's look at this real quick. We have too many things here, so I'm looking at. So component context, physics component. Okay, so this physics component is different. So the one that's stored in this context is not pointing to it, was like I would have expected. Why did that happen? But this is... The context is... Hold on a minute. We do assign the address here within the state physics components. So what's going on? Oh. I'm a doofus. I am a big doofus. Well, I'm not a doofus, maybe. Because we are returning state, but does this mean we're copying? We should allocate new memory for this, right? Yeah. So I think this is a problem with my understanding of Zig. So I thought... Maybe I got bad habit. Yeah, so I am copying, yeah. Okay, so I should just allocate new memory and return a pointer. Is this the correct way to do it in Zig? Like, I thought... How do other... Yeah, they're invalid, but it's just working somehow. So what is going on here? I thought we could... Dogs are going wild outside. So what is like the idiomatic way I should be handling like an init function like this? Should I be calling the allocator like, what is it? Like allocator dot, was it reserve or that alloc? Is it alloc is what I should be using? Is this how I should be doing it? And then what do other pointer into struct memory? Hold on a bit. I'm still learning Zig. Sorry, it is definitely so like how does this kind of stuff, if I don't do return like this, it just doesn't work? The signature of this function, the init function here? Yeah. Also, I just realized, yeah, that's the signature. Basically, I just initialize it and return it. So I'm making a copy, I guess. Okay. Yeah, knowing the idiomatic way would be cool. Well, yeah, sorry for making through effort of doing this, but I really would love to learn how to handle a case like this. I was just following the Zig code in the center of the library without really entirely understanding why they're doing it one way or the other. Is my bad. Yeah. So I think what happened before is we didn't have this game state as a separate init function, as I recall. At least initially when we had all this stuff working. See, my guess would have been like allocator dot something. Alloc, yeah. And return the pointer. But it's starting to feel very C-like at that point, but maybe that's the right way to go. At least you have an explicit allocator and not a, you know, alloc, the function to the system heap. You know. While you're doing that, I'm just thinking to myself, you know, so I wonder if there's anything else I could look at in the Zig Center library to just kind of get an idea what should be done. I guess for the most part, yeah. Oh, thank you for the snippet. I'll take a look at that right away. I still gotta remember the ZigBin website. So you return a void. Oh, you pass in the self. Whoa. So you make it undefined, you just call init. Oh, okay. So let me just understand this real quick so everybody is on the same page. So we have a self, and we assign that to a, well, we assign the perimeters. Okay. Which is assigning a copy? It's not a copy. It's not a copy because, why? I don't 100%. Is this actually proper initialization though? I guess it's not a copy because, okay. Well, you know what? Let's just go in blind and assume it's gonna work without understanding it first. Because why not? So self.gameState And then instead of doing that, we do self dot like that. Assign it to then. Instead of doing state like this, we do, should it be self? Is that how that works? And then we don't return anything. Okay. We'll return to the memory, to the original memory location. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. And then back to our game file at the very beginning. We should have game state. So we do var game state. Game state equals undefined, right? And then we call init on it. Game state.init. Given the allocator, this should be fine. Cool. Let's give that a shot. See if that works. No, I made an error. I made a mistake on my part. Use of undeclared item for state. Oh, I didn't fix that. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. Okay. It should be self. Oh, I need to do it there too. Ooh, I did something bad, I guess. Give me a second here. Where do I initialize physics components? It's right now it is a fixed size array. That is a default. But oh, I need to use try here. That's why. Oops. What? Dereference a non-pointer type. Game state. Where did I do that at? 77? Okay. Let's... Oh, this should be a pointer type, right? Is that my mistake? Yeah, it should be a pointer type. Okay. Well, can we hit the breakpoint? Oh, it's working now. Woohoo! Cool. That works. We can move around. So we fixed that bug. Thank you very much, Christoph, for your much appreciated effort. Okay, and since we have the ball moving now, we need hitboxes. So let's go ahead and yeah, very exciting. We have some time left. So let's go ahead and make a fairly large hitbox just to make things pretty easy. Let's just make top at 100,000 because we have very large units. Left at a negative 100, 1, 2, 3. Bottom at 0. Right at 100,000. Okay, and both of these should have vulnerable hitbox groups. And so this action is actually standing. Okay, so that means character number 2 should get hit. So what we want to do is update. We should have a walking action, right? Even though it's not attack yet. We'll just make walking hit. So we'll go ahead and just copy this. I think that's what I want to do. Yeah. Paste that. So walking should have... The frames don't matter right now because we're ignoring that in our code, but so hitbox here, attack group here. Why was that? Oh, so a single attack group. The first one is this value, and that ends there. What is the problem? Let's give me a syntax error. I don't know why it's doing that. Trailing comma, is that a problem? Oh yeah, it's a trailing comma. Okay. Well, the JSON parser showed me a thing. Okay. Is it just gonna work? It's probably not just gonna work, but I'm gonna try anyway. Why not? Oh, we got a loading problem. Looks like. Did I break a thing? Did I miss something? Duration, start frame, hitboxes. Where did it break? Unexpected end to JSON. Okay, so I broke a thing here. So there's that. This is why I want to have an editor for this, so I don't, actually, I'm not handling this myself. Because trying to hand edit JSON can be a pain because of things like this. So we have two actions inside there, and we then end that. Unexpected end to JSON. Okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick. JSON parts check or something. Let's do this real quick. What's the problem? Validate JSON. What's the issue? It says valid JSON. So, what is it? My parse is the parse of the problem. What am I missing? Yeah, it says invalid. Unexpected end of JSON. Well, that be dogged. What did I mess up here? I thought I saved it, yes, for sure, but always run into problems. Nothing's easy. Let's just delete this group right here. Delete that. See, we still need a walking action, but okay, so something was wrong there. Let's just copy paste that whole thing. Oops. We should be good now, right? If something's messed up here, I'm going to be a little upset. So that doesn't work. So it's interesting. Is there something with like, huh? So it does mean modified. Yeah. So make sure everything's saved though. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm running the program. So maybe I couldn't save because it had the file open and it hit a some. Oh no. No. Is it really because I have this in here? Is this the problem? I'm really curious about this. I'm trying to find out. Let me just like, so why is this an issue? Why is this causing a problem? This isn't causing a problem up there. That's so strange. It's just some weird trailing thing. I'm not seeing. This is so strange. Literally deleting this fixes the problem. I didn't expect to run into this kind of issue, but most issues you don't predict are ones you don't predict. Oh boy. Yeah, that's annoying. So it's the same here. If I just take this out, it works. Yeah, and then I add here a single attack box group. That fails, but then if I remove this single hitbox from it, it works. And it's fine here. That's this weird thing. It's fine here. Okay. It's something with the copy pasting that is. Is it because UTF-8 is fine? If I do this, does that break it? Because that's a Windows style line endings. I'm just really curious about this. No, that didn't change anything. That's so strange. What if I just make an empty array? Sorry, empty object. No, well, there probably is a problem. So that fixes that. I mean, it is. Well, it's throwing an exception somewhere here, right? So we load asset. Oh, I know the problem. I know the problem. Yeah. This is something that I brought up earlier. I really need to make it a streaming loader because I didn't make a buffer big enough to store the whole thing. That's the problem. Yeah, I really need to make it a streaming. That's something we'll have to do next time. I was just being lazy as heck. So, yeah, the buffer for loading an entire text file is too small. That is the problem. That's why adding that, no matter what, caused that issue. So, where did I put that? I thought it was in character data. Parse, load asset, yeah. Load asset. As you see here, this is too small. Yeah, that's the problem. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we'll need to make that a streaming parser, a streaming loader. I don't know how to do that yet. Okay. So that was the problem. Yeah, because the buffer that we read in the full file is just, yeah, I need to figure out how to make this this parser handle like a stream or something so that we can work with any size file. Okay, I'll do that later, but not today. I'll look into it. So we do have the two collision boxes now, right? Give me a second. So we have the attack box group here. Should be top, up, bottom 0, left is this way, right is that way. Okay. So let's just debug a little bit of our collision system. So we should be triggering debug message, right? I didn't see it come out though. Collision system. Yeah, we should do. Yeah. I don't think we hit this, but I'm just gonna hit a breakpoint just to test the breakpoint just in case. Yeah. So we did not collide. Let's make sure we hit the breakpoint here. I shouldn't have killed it. The loading time is kind of slow. Okay, so we're not even getting to the point where we need to check overlap. Do we get to here? We don't get to here either. What do we get to? Wait, hold on a second. That is walking. Okay. Hold on a second. Let me check something. We are here. I think the problem is we don't have hitboxes. Okay. Pretty sure the problem is our common state name is different, not assigned. So this is called walking forward, not walking. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. Oops. We didn't have the data for that walking forward action. I want to do hot reloading too. I want to do that really soon, so I don't have to restart the whole game. Do you break, you Cosmic? This thing again? We're gonna crash again. Okay, let's get rid of this. We're crashing on actioning being 0. Sorry, let me. This is a whole whoop-de-doo. Hold on. Entity is 1. Vulnerable scratch. Don't care about that yet. It's attack count. Oops. So we're at 0 here. Entity. I don't care entity index. I want entity. Yeah, entity is right there. Just gonna delete this. So it's the second entity. Self should be fine, right? Attack slices should be. Well, it's not assigned yet. Okay. Now we're assigning it here. What is the issue? What does the panic come from? Default panic. What is the issue? What is the actual error? Invalid debug? No. I don't care about that. I want to look at result catch error. Where's the issue? So it happened here, from here, but what's the actual issue? What is the actual error? Why does it panic? What is assigning this? What is the problem here? I don't see the issue. Sorry. It's like cut off. It hit some kind of exception. It's gonna exit the game now. What's the error that showed? Unable to dump stack trace. Okay. Got it, but what am I doing bad there? It says index out of bounds. Okay. I didn't see that, sorry. So what was out of bounds about it? Okay. So as soon as I start moving, it's going to do it? Okay. It's because I now have attack boxes. Okay. What index is out of bounds? Entity is 1. Beginning. So beginning is top of the trace. This is pointing to here. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. I thought it was part of my normal output. You're correct. So I think I know the problem though. Yeah. That's 1 to attack count. Why did it start breaking when I moved? So I think this is a zig thing. So the slice, if you do like 1 to 0, yeah, I guess that's not correct. So I would have to do something like if count, well, let's just say if attack count is greater than 0, do this, else it would be something like 0 0. I can do 0 0, right? I don't know like the best way to do this, but I want an empty slice effectively. Does that fix that issue? Oh, okay. Hey, we got a collision. And that's going to hit. Yeah. Yeah, we're printing, yay, overlapping. Sweet. And then we walk out of here and the collision stop. Alrighty, well, it's a pretty long stream today, so I probably should cut it off. Kind of reached our goal there of what we wanted. So, yeah, let's go through our agenda real quick. Planning. While I'm doing this, if any other questions or if you're new here, I guess I'll just share the group invite here for our. We do have a Discord group basically, and you can join at this link if you've first time coming to the stream. But since I'm cutting it off for today, thanks to everybody who dropped by who helped. It's much appreciated as always. I hope you all have a good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you may be. Hope to see you all soon. I think that's gonna be it. And yeah, we'll see. I'll probably stream it in 2 days. So Thursday for us, Wednesday out in the US. Cool. Yeah. Well, Scotty, everybody, and good job to everybody who helped. Thanks for making it all the way through the stream. And see you all soon. Goodbye.